Welcome back to another episode of Choose Courage Inc., where we skip the boring intros and jump straight into reimagining business and workplace experiences with We Ain't Afraid to Go There conversation. I'm your host, Vivianne Castillo, and for this episode, I'm so excited to share a conversation that feels especially close to my heart because this episode's guest is not only a powerhouse entrepreneur, a creative visionary, a cultural curator, but she's also a family. Yes, cousins, baby. She goes by Nikki the Jeanius, and she's the founder of All Things Ankara, the #1 African print platform in the world. That's not an exaggeration. And I think Nikki's journey is a masterclass in trusting your gut, honoring your creativity, and turning a passion into a platform that changes lives, all while staying deeply rooted in authenticity, faith, and community. And so this episode has range. We get into things like how a single email helped Nikki land her first celebrity collaboration, to what it means to dream bigger, even when you're the first in your family, your industry, or your city to do it, to why nurturing your creativity and your health go hand in hand while building a business that lasts. We also get into some real talk about perfectionism, scaling smart, and why taking care of your body, your mind, and your spirit is a non-negotiable for sustainable success. This conversation is full of laughs, truth bombs, some insights into our family group text, and moments that will make you rethink what's possible when you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start moving in courage. So whether you're at the beginning of your journey, pivoting into a new season, or just need a reminder that you're not dreaming too big, this one's for you. Yeah, where do I want to start? Well, one, I'm just happy to be having this conversation with you. A lot of people probably don't know that we're family. Yeah, cousins. Cousins, baby. And I know, like, gosh, your background, your experience is just so deeply rooted in creativity and just honoring your gut and your heart.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to chop it up with you today. Yeah. And maybe what we could just, I just want to jump right into it. I'm wondering if, as you're kind of reflecting on your journey, your businesses, I'm wondering if maybe you could share maybe something wild or unexpected that happened early in your journey that still either makes you laugh or cringe, but just like a little bit today. Just kind of
Sure.
curious.
So I'll give a brief synopsis. I'm the founder of All Things Ankara. It's the #1 African print platform in the world. And even me just saying that is wild because when I first started the brand, I didn't even think I would do all these things, but that's a testament to God. So shout out to God.
Hey, let's go.
So with my brand over the years, I've diversified into different things. So Ankara is a popular West African print that we wear. I'm wearing a head wrap for my brand now. But I knew if I wanted to take my brand to the next level, I would have to do different things, whether it be events or just reaching out to different celebrities. So I was thinking about doing a ball. So back before the prints became what it is now, people would really only wear these prints to parties. So I was thinking, well, okay, people usually associate this with something formal. Why not do a ball? When I was thinking of someone who would be the face of it, I couldn't think anybody. So there was a person called Jeanius that came out in early 2015. It was like, he would be the perfect person. He was actually one of the first celebrities at that time in the US to actually wear the prince as his quote unquote uniform, as I would say it. So I was like, man, I really would love to work with this guy. So I talked about it with my creative director, Troy. He's also the guy I'm working on the restaurant with, and we just work well together. When people hear I'm doing something, where's Troy? We're like two peas in a pod, literally, when it comes to all things creative. So I was telling them, Troy, I saw this guy, or actually he told me about the guy first. Let me even go back. He sent me the artwork to his single classic mount on WhatsApp. So when he sent it, I thought it was a photo shoot. I didn't know it was an actual single of a song. So I was like, Troy, I saw what you sent me on WhatsApp. That guy's kind of fly. He was like, Nikki, that's not a photo shoot. It's an actual artist's song, like the cover. Cool this. He was like, some guy named Jeanius. So I was like, let me listen to the song. I listened to it a few days. So when I heard the song, I'm like, this guy's gonna blow. And at that time, the song had came out. It was like a week after the song came out. So nobody knew who he was. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna blow up. He's gonna, he's gonna be the next biggest thing in the African community. So I was like, Troy, how do you think, or how do you feel about us doing a ball with him? He's like, Nikki, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. What do you mean we're doing it? We're gonna reach out to them. Whether they say yes or no, we're going to reach out and we're going to do this ball. I kid you not. We sent that email. Within a week, they said we're doing it. I was like, y'all want to work with me, though? Yeah, we love that whole idea. We love we love your platform. And at that time, I probably only had maybe 20K followers. That was big. 12 years ago. They're like, we love what you're doing. Send the console board. We're doing it. Troy, is this happening today? He's like, I told you, we just gotta start. I told you. I said, let's send the email. So let's, we sent the email, they say yes, so let's start. So over the span of early 2015 up until June, we were planning the shoot. We did the shoot. And then in September, October, we launched it. When we launched it, that thing, it went viral, was on Huffington Post. Bella and Najah posted it. CNN reached out to me, but unfortunately, because they heard about it so late, they weren't even able to come to the event. Everybody, it was everywhere. So to answer your question, that's something that I laugh about because I didn't think sending an email or just reaching out was something that would have led to people knowing my brand for. And that small event and that small shoot that we did literally is the main thing people know. They're like, oh, I know your brand. You work with Janana. You're still around. And the sad thing about it is because of funding, that was the only ball that I had did. I never did a ball after that. And people still till this day ask me, when is the next ball? So that's something I always laugh and say, wow, all I did was email my first celebrity client and I work with them. So I always tell people, if it's somebody you want to work with, don't feel scared to reach out because you never know. And also, the thing I would tell people is if you're going to work with a celebrity, reach out when they're not so big because they'll be more inclined to work with you. When they are big, they're like, you know what, you were with me when nobody wanted to give me an opportunity. Let's work. And let's work again. And let's work again. That's something Jadena does. Anytime he comes in the DC area, he was like, I have to give shout out to Nikki and Choi. They were the first people that reached out to me in the area. And that's it. The rest is history. So that's something I always laugh about.
I love that. There's two things I'm also hearing from this story. One is the importance of having someone who is hype about your vision and your idea.
And that's Troy.
Everyone needs a Troy. And
everybody needs a Troy.
Yeah, and I imagine too, for some people, they have the wrong people acting as a Troy that shouldn't even be there in the first place.
It's true. And it's so funny how we met. He was doing a photo shoot. My friend saw that I was doing a lot of creative things in the area. And the first day we got on the phone, we were on the phone for an hour just talking about stuff. So from then I'm like, oh yeah, this is someone I definitely need in my corner. He loves creativity. He loves community. He loves to collaborate with people. And I'm like that. So those are things we always, mesh on. So from 2012 up until now, we've been the best of friends. All business adventures we always work together on. And that's pretty much it. I always tell people, get a Troy in your circle, you're going to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Period.
People need a Troy in their circle. And then also people just need to just ask. You never know what's possible if you just put your idea out into the world. It may be.
And to add to that, asking and also being prepared for the opportunity. But because I've had experience doing events, because in college I was vice president of the ASA. So we did a lot of events and a lot of community work that helped. And then just me just liking fashion and knowing how to do a production, whether it be events or shoots, help. So not only is asking helpful, but being prepared for that moment is too. And being prepared to be stressed and to go through all the alls too. Because when you get that opportunity, if you're not ready to execute it, it doesn't make sense to even pursue it or even ask. So asking is step 1. 2, 3, and 4, you also need to be ready for as well.
Yeah, that's a good gut check too. It's a gut check of are you ready to receive the things you're asking and praying for?
Exactly.
And if you're not, like, how do you get ready for that? It's making me think about, I have 2 businesses. My second business is Moon Paws, which is an astrology for pets app.
Yes, you told us.
Yeah. And, it's funny. I posted that this is something I'm building with a couple friends of mine last year. And we just put it even on LinkedIn and had it on our LinkedIn profile. Now, someone had reached out to us from Nutro Dog Food, which is a really big dog food brand. And they had reached out asking if we'd be willing to do a live event.
Wow, and this is just through them reaching out randomly.
Just they saw us on LinkedIn.
Wow. And that's the event you sent us in the chat, right? The pictures from that one event you did? Okay.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for those listening, we have a cousin group chat. So
Oh, yeah, sorry, guys. So when we say group chat, we talking about a cousin chat. Y'all not in the chat, but y'all gonna find some things that we'll talk about in the chat.
Yeah, and so, but that just came from saying and putting it on LinkedIn. And, it's interesting. It turned into this really cool event where it allowed me and my team to think about, okay, what kind of experience we want people to have when it's live? How do we want to capture how people are just having this moment of really joy and connection with their pet? But also, it led to this opportunity where we were asked to, so we're invited to this event. Then we were asked to do something the night before where we would do a private reading for Ian Somerhalder. who he plays Boone on Lost, and he also plays Damon on The Vampire Diaries. Yeah, and he was like really excited and really into pet astrology. So we did this private reading with him, and he just loved it.
So nice.
Absolutely loved it. And again, none of that would have happened if we just didn't put our idea out there. So kind of reminds me a little bit of what you're saying as well. Just put your idea out there and see what happens.
And that's kind of how I even started my All Things on Cara brand. It was just me posting trending things because at that time there wasn't any platform that was posting people in the prints. I'm like, well, let me just repost. And that led to a whole thing. People were like, oh my gosh, girl, you started a brand. We here, we supporting you. This is cool. And people already knew from me creating the brand, they were like, you could diversify and do so many things because it's just prints. You could do events. You can put it on things. You can sell clothes. So yeah, just starting and putting yourself out there really is, and asking are
Yeah.
just simple things you can do.
Yeah, I'm curious, what gave you the courage to take your work from passion project to platform? I know you have a couple different branches. Maybe pick one or two that you may want to speak more on.
So before I start, I have to give credit to my mom because even from as a child, my mom was really good at nurturing my creativity. And I'll even tell you a backstory why she even just likes creativeness herself. So she said when she was in Nigeria, she would read a lot of Reader's Digest books. And she said from doing that, she knew in America, if you wanted to be successful as a business owner or just in anything, you would need to have some kind of creative thing you want to put out there and just in general, just do business. So I think as I was growing up, she already knew like everything is not just about going to school. If your kid likes something, you need to nurture, like I said, because you never know. Because when we were younger, me and Christiana, that's one of our other cousins for the people who are listening, we actually took piano lessons together. But I think I, after her, took it the longest. I did piano lessons for 10 years. On top of that, I did clarinet in school. I did cheerleading. I did palms. And my mom's like, okay, you want to do this? All right, let's do it. You need me to sign this paperwork so you can do it? Okay, good. So now that I think about it in hindsight as an adult, my mom was prepping me for all the things I'm doing now. So to add to that, when I had graduated from college, it was hard for me to find a job. But funny enough, my mom was like, what is this brand that everybody keeps talking about? People actually started talking about my brand at my mom's job. She was like, oh, my friends are following your page. What is this? I'm like, Mom, you know how we are in Africa. We wear the prints and, I'm just repost. She was like, girl, you need to focus on that. You want to get a job? She was like, this is the job. He said, this is the job. She said, you will actually make more money doing this than going to get a job. So to answer your question, it was really me just not having a job and my mom being that encourager that she was. And she was like, do it. Let's see how, well you do. And this is where I am now. So that's really what's always given me the courage is just maybe listening to my mom in my ear and her actually egging me on, say, yeah, come on. Oh, yeah, let's do it kind of thing. So I give a lot of my credit to her and she knows that. She always knew I would do all these things. She's like, girl, I told you. Even when I was like fashionable back in high school, she's like, you need a platform or a blog where you can post these things on. But we didn't have Instagram back then. We didn't have Facebook. So I'm like, okay, what's this blog my mom's talking about? But now I get it. It's all the things I'm doing now. That All Things on Cara brand, me just being a creative and posting my work and people seeing it for what it is. So I got to give it to my mom for sure.
Yeah, and you're speaking into the importance of having that creativity nurtured. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, there's external folks that can do that in terms of nurturing, whether it's parents, people like loved ones who see you and like get you. And I think there's also an opportunity like internally, like how do we like nurture some of that courage so we can make that transition from idea and passion into something like more tangible. One thing that I often hear in my group entrepreneurship coaching is especially when we start getting really practical of how do you like build this idea into a business, people realize that they've been using this idea as a form of escapism. And now it's becoming real. Now they're having to be strategic. Now I have to think about content and audience. And
you have to be passionate too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And so it's a moment of clarity for people when you kind of are able to step away from this thing that maybe was a form of escapism. And then you actually have to like turn into something real. But it's cool to see how you just had that gift, that inkling from the get-go, and your mom like saw that and nurtured that.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss Ronnie.
Yeah. And it's funny, like Humanity Centered, which is like my main consulting business, It originally started as a passion project. I
Mm.
had no desire of it turning into a business. It was
Wow.
just this, I really want to talk about real things with dope people.
Mm.
And it ended up turning into this larger thing.
Which is good.
And I think when I kind of like reflect on what gave that courage, it was more of like a conviction.
Mm.
It's this deeper why around what does it look like for me to challenge the status quo on the things that I wish were different for me?
Mhm.
Whether that's like the workplace experience, whether that how we relate to creativity, what have
Mm.
you. And I think, again, similar to something you're getting at, it's a recognition that I couldn't do it alone. And I think a lot of people, the reason why their ideas and their dreams don't happen is because they view it as a solo journey when it should be a
Yeah.
shared one.
Think all journeys should be shared and all dreams, honestly, because that's something I've learned. Because even with me running all things on car, even tonight, I think I could do a better job with getting a team. So I just feel like any vision you have, you can there's not one vision or dream or job anyone has as far as business that they can do it by themselves. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to scale and make it bigger and make some, small cash.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a team. Yeah. And that's another reason why I'm even liking that I'm getting into the restaurant space because that's one industry where you definitely need a team. So those are things, I mean, I've been in the industry for so long, business, I would say, and I'm still learning stuff. So I think that's another thing to add to what I'm saying is also be willing to learn and to learn from other people, even if they're younger than you don't have experience. You can always learn from anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your restaurant business and what you're cooking up over there?
Sure. So the name of the restaurant is called Vibe, Vibe Restaurant and Lounge. It's an Afrofusion, Afrofuturistic dining experience where culture, flavor, and innovation collide. We're big on the culture because Africa. We're big on the taste of the food, which is the flavor, because if the food ain't right, nobody's coming. And we're really big on the innovation. So the innovation part, which I really like, is the whole place is black and white. So think of if STK, Balenciaga, and Chanel were to come together and make a restaurant. That's what Vibe is. So Balenciaga, they're really good with creating unorthodox designs and innovative, but we're not going to be too unorthodox. But but Balenciaga, they take it to the sky. We're not doing all that. The thing I like about Balenciaga is their innovation. So everything in the restaurant lights up. We have LED lights in the restaurant that light up. The menus light up. There's LED in the menus. The name badges light up. I was even talking to my Troy, my creative director, or the co-person I'm working on with the restaurant. I even want to put LED earrings in the staff's earrings, the girls at least. So everything is like really futuristic. Even the drinks, one of our signature drinks lights up. There's LED ice cubes in it. So I'm trying to make it to where it's different. I don't want to take it to a point where it's too like that's too much LED and too lighting. Like there's a balance. That's what I'm trying. There's a balance. And then the thing I'm really excited about is the food because we're trying to do a lot of Afrofusion food. So think of like jollof sushi. Jollof is really big in the African culture, but we want to add that Asian aspect to it. Another thing we're having is a gege bread roll. So a gege bread is a staple bread in West Africa especially, but we're trying to form it towards a roll instead of giving, the regular rolls you eat at other restaurants. We want to add our own or create our own version of a roll. Another thing I'm excited about is suya tacos. We have tacos that people eat here, but we want to add our own flavor and put our own suya spices with the meat. What else do we have that's exciting? We have a platter. It's going to be called the Taste of Africa platter, but the platter is actually in the shape of Africa. We created the plate to where it's in the shape of Africa. And we have different foods like puff puff, and all those things in there. So it's going to be something special because I haven't seen anything we've done. And I'm really even good that we've been so creative to the point where we're creating something so unique and something that's needed because when a lot of people create these restaurants, they're more so lounges. We want to really hone in on the restaurant. The lounge is going to be there. Lounge is easy to do, but restaurant, a lot of people don't perfect it. They don't train their staff. We're trying to make sure our staff is trained well. We want to take it seriously because if you take things like this seriously, it can become something that's good and you can expand and diversify and put it in different cities and even take it international. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it because for me, it's me stepping outside of my comfort zone. I love to learn. And it's something that everybody can enjoy. It's food. At least with the print, sometimes people from other races can enjoy and they're like, oh, Nikki, can I wear? I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, notice a lot of these prints are made in Asia, but Black people don't want to accept that. That's the funny thing. Asians, it's so funny. White people actually the Dutch created the prints, but when the whole manufacturing age took place, China now took over and then blacks wear it. So that's the whole thing. But at least with the food, everybody can enjoy it, every race, every culture, every age. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a good thing for sure. I'm excited.
No, I can't wait to try it out.
I can't wait for everybody too, man. I'm excited.
I mean, I'm also hearing there's two things I'm hearing in this. One is there's something really powerful about being inspired from industries outside of the one that you want to work in. And I think that is an encouragement for folks to kind of follow different paths. Even within like the design industry that I used to be more involved in, I wouldn't read books or follow designers. I'm reading about psychology. I'm trying to understand like these different industries, the different compelling stories influence how I'm thinking about that. And I love like hearing how you're taking some of these like notes from like fashion and you're putting it into this restaurant idea.
It's helped a lot, especially with the design aspect. I'm like, oh yeah. It's so funny because sometimes I actually bring my measuring tape to measure stuff in the restaurant. So like, it's so funny how fashion designing and interior designing can literally overlap. Instead of me using like, the metal tape the contractors, I'm like, well, I'm familiar with the measuring tape. I'm going to use my tape I use to measure my clients. So it's funny. They're different industries, but things do overlap.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm hearing as well is, and I hope it's an encouragement for people, is ask yourself, what would happen if I took this seriously? And I just hear the way you're being so like intentional and thoughtful. And
I take everything seriously. People know me. I don't play. Especially people know if my name's on something, oh yeah, Nikki. They be Nikki and Chores and Bob. Oh yeah, they're good. People know. They know to not play with us. And it's so funny because I know this is leading to another question, but sometimes people see our work, they're like, oh, they're too perfectionist or they're too like they take their work too seriously. And one of our clients they had heard this from somebody else. They're like, isn't that a good thing? Wouldn't you want people who are detailed to help you out? Sometimes, and I've come to learn sometimes I'm too detailed for people. I'm like, whoa, I don't need to work with you. But the good thing about it is if you work with me and I'm detailed, you're going to see some results. I don't play. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think and again, it's a reminder of what will people say about you in relationship to your idea and the things that you create? Are you that person that's just kind of like, oh yes, they have a million ideas, but they never execute and there's never any depth? Or are you someone where when people see your name tag to it, they're like, okay, yeah, they're gonna explore that and get that done.
Yeah, I rarely say something and never do it. It might take me some time because I do believe in taking breaks but not stopping, but I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah. And as I'm kind of reflecting on the creative process, I recognize that there are these moments where there's a lot of magic that's happening, but sometimes there can be some mess behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
And yeah. And I'm wondering maybe you could speak a little bit into how maybe perfectionism, as you're kind of talking about, or even like imposter syndrome showing up in your creative process.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I don't stop, but I take breaks. So I feel like me being the detailed person I am, I always like to say nothing can be perfect, but you can strive for perfection. But sometimes striving too much for perfection can kind of delay things. And I've kind of seen that a little bit with the restaurant. Even the investors are like, this thing doesn't have to be perfect, let's open. But I'm like, okay, you have to find the balance. Is it that you want to open and we all fail? Or do we strive for perfection, not having things perfect and at least do better? Because sometimes you only have one shot and you only have one chance to make an impression. So yes, I know perfectionism, as they call it, because I don't like that term. I like being detailed. I know it can hinder, but I love that aspect about me because I don't let sugar honey iced tea slide. I don't like when I know I could have done something, I just let it slide. I try not to have that happen. But it has hindered things, and that's probably the reason why I don't pursue things, or at least why it takes me a little bit longer. But sometimes taking time towards things is good because at least you're perfecting your craft. So I just look at it as like a yin and yang kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends too on your industry and what you're building, right? I think I've seen people where perfectionism is just another word for self-sabotage. Like they just never end up doing anything because it has to be quote unquote perfect. And it's like, that ain't happening. And I think like for creatives, if we can understand that It's about getting it to a place where there's going to be a solid foundation for iteration and continued creativity, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm kind of in this similar place right now. With Moonpause, we've been working on creating this app, astrology for pets app. So trying to think how to articulate this. We have a version of the app we could launch right now. And I'll say this too. I think it's possible to be a non-technical founder, but it'll also be expensive because you don't know what you don't know. And so I'll wrap up with this of like, we have this version that we worked with someone outside of Moonpause to help us build. And knowing what we know now, we know that if we scale that version from an infrastructure standpoint, it will be very costly. And we know that the way it was built, that there are just some things that won't do well with our audience. And I think especially with digital content, people are not forgiving.
They're not forgiving. I'm telling you. I feel like it's anything in business now. People are very impatient. And everyone thinks they're celebrity child. They think they Beyonce, which is not a bad thing because I think people want whatever they're putting their time into to be worthwhile. So that's just business in general. So I get your point.
Yeah, I think with an app though, so I had to make a decision. Like we can launch this app and, create and iterate around it to make it where we need it to be, but also knowing that that's people's first experience of not only this brand.
First impression is key.
Yeah, but also this concept, right? Like we're really innovators in this pet space right now.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I was like, or we can rebuild it and actually work with someone that we know can build in the way that we want to and have a scale in the way that we want to. And we did find someone that's going to help us do that, who will do it at a fraction of the cost and like fraction of the time. Now that does delay our launch continuously. We've been working on this for a minute, but I know that it's really important, especially for this concept, to launch it right, especially when you're new and like the first in the space, right?
I can relate with this restaurant because we've gone through, I think, 5 contractors. So like we can let things look the way they look, but I'm not having people come there and say, Nikki, this don't look good. It's gonna really break me down. So I'm like, we can take the time and fix it, or we can open as is. So it relates to you with the app. You gotta get things done properly. It's not even about being a perfectionist, because I know sometimes people say we're being perfectionist. No. If somebody's buying something or putting their time towards something, let it be good. Simple.
Yeah. And I think too, part of it depends on your ability to quickly iterate. So I'll give another example. When I launched this podcast, first few episodes it just literally started. There's no intro music, there's no intro, there's no context setting. And did that for like a few episodes, and someone emailed me and like, hey, be helpful if you had even like 60 seconds in the beginning, just kind of giving an overview and then having like a little bit of an outro. And I'm like, all right, done. So I did that, edited the earlier ones and just kept it moving. But that's a quick fix, right? It's very different than like a restaurant or like an app. I mean, you can just do a quick fix, quote unquote, in like 2 days.
Yeah, everything can always be a quick fix. You got to take time and
yeah. And that goes to trusting your gut.
Yeah,
and that gets better over time. But it's trusting your gut. It's understanding the industry and the context that you're in, how customers typically are, when they're first experiencing a brand within that industry. And if you are one of the first in these spaces, you need to come correct.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would say with the restaurant, we would probably be the first fine dining restaurant in Silver Spring. First fine dining African restaurant in Silver Spring. It hasn't been done. So that we can relate on that too. So
yeah.
A lot of firsts.
Listen. Yeah. I'm curious. I'm gonna go off script with you. Like, how do you I think about you within the context of the family. I think about you within the context of all the first things that you've done. How do you kind of manage that reality of like, hey, I'm going to be the first to do this? Like, Hey, this is Vivianne, and I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And I just wanted to pause for a quick moment to say that this podcast is ad-free on purpose. And we want to keep it that way so that it feels like a space that's just for us and just a little bit more divorced from noise on what we should buy and what we should consume. And so the best way to help us do that is by sharing it with someone you think would really connect with it, someone who you think would feel encouraged or get something out of this episode, or by leaving an honest review, because it helps more folks find us. And honestly, it could be the exact thing someone else needed to hear today, just because you took a moment to spread the word. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you, and let's get back to it.
To be honest, going back to what my mom said, I kind of know was going to do all these things. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't know, just growing up, I just know it's different. I was always the friend who was in her books. I'm always reading. I'm always the friend who likes to keep people lively. I was also the tallest out of my group. I'm 5'10". So I just knew something. Hey, I gotta say, I just knew something was different about me. And I know it has a lot to do with how my mom raised me too. She put me in private school, so I know that really helped to focus my learning and just to appreciate being in school, focusing on the goal and completing a task. That helped. So I don't know. I just kind of know I was gonna do all these things. I'm not gonna lie to you. My mom did too. She was like, "I told you, you're creative. You need to post your stuff." So I think it just came naturally. And I'm always thinking of just different ways to be innovative, if that makes sense. So when you add all those things, I'm not surprised that I'm doing all these things, if it makes sense.
Yeah,
I just being creative, and when you're creative, you're always thinking of different ways on how to do things. So I think that's part of it too. Yeah.
And I'll say something else that I see, that creativity thrives in authenticity.
Yeah. And people say that. I mean, like, girl, you're just you.
Yeah, you're just being you.
Yeah.
Allowing that to flow out of you.
And people are like, girl, I'm not surprised. You're always doing something. So I think it's just me being me, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and there might be some people listening to this where, especially if you've been in corporate, we are often taught to suppress the parts of us that aren't going to conform to our billionaire boss going to space again. So for some of you, this is an invitation to get more clear on who you are and what you're about. What would life look like and feel like if you actually honored the deeper things within you and the things authentically making you?
And like you said, trusting your gut. If you have this idea that you keep thinking about, just do it. And just, I guess, try and find the cost-effective way of starting. Yeah, and maybe not scaling too fast. I know a lot of people who scale their businesses too fast and they're no longer in business. So
yeah.
just being smart and intentional too. Yeah.
I know a lot of people where they finally got that deal with that big brand,
Yeah.
like for a Target, whatever it is,
Yeah.
as a small business, and they just focused on the marketing, the positioning, but
Mhm.
they didn't think about the cost of that scale and what it would do to their business, and they regret it. So I think it's important for you to think about too, how do you want to, there's other ways to scale besides
for
going
sure.
the
And sometimes you don't need to be with a Target. You can be where you are online.
Simply. And I think too, like, it goes back into, there's this evolution, this journey when it comes to trusting ourselves in
Yes.
business. And it continues to grow and mature over time. What's one decision that you've made that felt small at the time, but actually changed everything?
So funny enough, it goes into what you said. So during the pandemic, the main thing people were selling were face masks. So I'm like, let me get into this face mask. The basis of it, at least the reusable ones, was cotton, and Ankara's cotton. So let me, try and see how this goes. So when I had posted it and advertised it like on 2 pages on Instagram, because Instagram, I know Instagram. I know how to sell stuff, whether it's posting and advertising on Instagram. I said, let me just try advertising on 2 pages. I think in one day I made about $1,000. So I'm like, if I'm making this much money in a day, keep doing this thing. Yeah. So over time, I was like, okay, let me just put a couple $100 a day. So that was actually the one time where I'm like, okay, I have a product that solves a problem. Let me actually advertise. Because that's one thing I notice people don't do. When they have a product, they don't know how to advertise their product the proper way. It's one thing to just spend money on Facebook ads, but you need to be strategic. So I advertised on Black fashion pages and African fashion pages, and I literally was selling hundreds and thousands of face masks. Till date, that's probably the most item I've sold. It's beaten even the nail wraps. Because I sell African print nail stickers on my website. That's beat down. Obviously, with the pandemic, it would. So even with me just advertising, I got the opportunity to be on so many publications, GQ, Essence, New York Times even interviewed me. It wasn't even in regards to the mask, but they wanted to know in that time with the George Floyd thing, how race impacted people wearing prints. Because a lot of white customers, they feel scared about wearing the prints because they feel like they're culture appropriating, which, like I told you earlier, doesn't make sense when they create it. Because a lot of Blacks are ignorant to how the prints came about. They feel scared. So they did a whole article on me and 3 other African print designers. And then later that year, in 2020, I came out with more innovative face masks. I had a mask where you could drink straw out of. I had a face shield mask. I like create all the masks. Let me get all the coins. So I used that same strategy. I'm okay, let me advertise on a few pages. I think in that week, and that was during Black Friday weekend, I think that weekend I made like 10,000. This is mask, for God's sake. So I'm okay, we're gonna keep doing this. So with me kept doing that for about a month. BT reached out and they did a whole holiday gift guide on my mask. So I was like, wow. So this is really teaching me something that in business, if you want to sell something, you have to, number one, create a product that solves a problem. And you need to advertise it strategically. It's not about just spending money. You need to advertise it strategically. And I think later so then the following year in 2022, I did Shade Room and I made so much money with that. So I think that's the main thing. I hope I answered your question. That's the main thing that I learned from that experience is if you're going to create a product, try to figure out what solves the problem. And that's an industry. There's always a problem that can be solved. If the problem is solved, find an innovative way to do it and just advertise it. It's like the formula can be hard, but it can also be simple. And that's my way of telling people in the active. I say, oh, girl, what do you do? I'm like, solve a problem, advertise, end of story. Obviously, there's small little things in between. There's not as simple, but if you can at least figure out those 2 things, you should be good to go. Yeah.
No, I appreciate the reminder. I mean, I think it's interesting. I started my main business in the very beginning of 2020. It was like March, April of 2020. And I think a lot of people, when they either find themselves in chaos or crisis, I mean, look outside, the world's burning.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Or something else is happening in their life that they look at that as, oh, now it's not the right time. I think for me, one decision that I made that felt small at the time to change everything was I just tried, even though things were hard and the world felt like it was burning around me.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to is part of it. Amongst all the things you've said, trying to just try your best.
Yeah. I know, honestly, just a decision to try, not overanalyzing, not waiting for perfect condition, not asking for permission, just allowing myself the simple courage to give it a shot. And I didn't realize at the time just how powerful that choice was. You know, it felt small because there weren't any big announcements or expectations attached. But it was just this quiet decision that I made internally that, you know, I'll try this and I'll see what happens. And, you know, since then, you know, we won. Fast Company named us one of their top 10 most innovative design companies.
Clap, 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 clap.
Now, typically you have to apply and pay for those awards. We didn't. They were just like, hey, we heard from word of mouth just the impact that your company is doing, and we want to like grant you this award. And that's probably one of the greatest things I'm the most proud of is we didn't enter a pay-to-play award. We were granted a off of merit, right? You know,
that's when it feels good. Like, damn, I'm really doing my thing. I was like, damn, these people are recognizing me. So at least I'm doing something right. Yeah,
they're recognizing me, and it's because I'm not seeking out that recognition, but because they're seeing me for me.
Yeah,
you know, we've been able to do really well in business. You know, I think our largest client contract was about $470K.
Clap, clap, clap again. Going in. Okay, let me come in.
Yeah, and like, and you know what's so funny about that is that contract came from someone who did that first cohort experience that I just tried to do in the beginning of the pandemic, and they ended up inviting us to do and explore something with their company, and it turned into this huge contract. Wow, it just came from something that they had experienced with me from that moment of, I'll just try.
I know that feels good too.
Yeah.
We just don't try and things come. That's God, honestly.
Yeah. And the thing is too, my mindset at the time was, if it doesn't work out, then fine. I'll log it as an L with the rest of 2020. I was like, what do I have to lose at this point? It's burning. Like even now, like I tell people, I'm like, look, the world's burning. Why not?
And you know what's funny when you say that? That's one of the things I do like about the pandemic. A lot of people were trying things and honing into their creativity because you had nowhere to go. Now I feel like everything's back to normal, so it's whatever. But That's a time I appreciate seeing. It's like, okay, I didn't even know you had this talent. Okay, I didn't even know you could do this. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. The people who took it seriously are the ones that, have kept doing what they're doing. So
Yeah.
at least that time it gave people to be a little bit creative and just to think outside the box, which was good.
Yeah, because trying creates clarity. Action creates clarity, right? And even when the outcome wasn't what I expected, even the outcome isn't what we expect, it's about forward momentum.
Right.
And it's like, it's something that teaches you about adaptability. It teaches you how to trust your gut again. It teaches you how to reconnect and recalibrate your relationship with creativity. And I actually think we're going to see another moment of that. I know that things are really tough and chaotic in the world, in the States especially. But I really think in these moments that creativity is going to be the key.
It always is. We're born to create.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Creativity is going to be the key because also creativity is a huge part of hope.
Yeah.
And, life doesn't stop, now. And so I think a lot of people are going to be leaning more into that. So I'm really excited. I'm really curious to see what comes out of this period. People just connecting deeper with themselves and what really matters.
Yeah.
I mean, to that end,
Yes.
I think, when I reflect on your creative journey and the things you've been able to build, I know that there is a lot of purpose and intentionality that's baked within that. And, I'm curious about like, yeah, how do we stay rooted in purpose while still dreaming bigger than we ever imagined from the beginning?
As funny as it sounds and cliche as it sounds, it's really just remembering your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And remembering that purpose fuels big dreams. They're like this, they're not separate. So if you're thinking your why as the reason why or why it's helping to dream big, you would always stay grounded. It's a cycle. Then on top of that, you have to take care of yourself. Because that's something I learned from the pandemic when I had my health issues is that if I don't take care of myself, I can't even dream big. You have to focus on yourself first. If you're sick, you're not eating right, gaining weight, you ain't sleeping, because that's something I struggle with now. People like, girl, why are you still up? It's 6 a.m. You should be sleeping, but people know I work well at night. That's probably something to also get from my mom. I've been doing it for so long, but the thing is, once again, I think I get it from my mom because my mom's a night person and she's a night shift nurse. But anyways,
Hey,
that we're saying, I just feel like also with dreaming big, you have to take care of yourself because if you're not here, there's no dreaming. So
yeah.
knowing your why and just taking care of yourself is very important. Sleeping. I think people underestimate sleep and resting. I think most people will say, oh, I need about 6 to 8 hours. No, girl, you need 10. No, boy, you need 10. And it's just resting. It doesn't always mean you're sleeping all those hours, but just relax. Like, put your phone down, eat right, get you a bowl of salad, add some quinoa. You know what I'm saying? Get some water instead of some juice. Put on some good music. No, I'm serious, because these are the things that keep you, sane. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say is knowing your why and just taking care of yourself, to be honest.
Yeah. And I also say too, know the difference between self-care and comfort care. I think a lot of people can engage in comfort care. These kind of like quick fix. Let me treat myself.
No, yeah, that's not it. No.
Yeah, but it's something deeper. And I think I love that point that you bring about making sure you're taking care of your body. I mean, taking care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. I just had a conversation with a group of entrepreneurs around when people are in fear, when people are being fearful, be creative. But you can't do that unless you are not only being healthy, but you are aware of your spiritual health. When I'm talking about spiritual health, I'm talking about these are the things, this is what gives you meaning and purpose. And I was talking about we have to have a more holistic understanding of being healthy. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they also can get into, okay, let me, yes, eat, sleep right, all these things, but like there's deeper things at play that are going to be really important for your creativity and for you to have a level of sustainability in what you're trying to develop.
It's true. Yeah, health is important. To add to something that's a little bit off topic, my mom, she's actually a holistic health and wellness coach. And what led to her being that was about 12 years ago, she had cancer. But my surprise, which is still mind-boggling today, she cured herself. She cured herself from just eating right, took a bunch of supplements, and it went away. So even from just her doing all that, she's now helping other people, and I'm helping her to even start her own business. So people really underestimate how important it is to take care of yourself. You can be here today and gone tomorrow. People die in their sleep.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I feel like that's important to even dreaming big. You gotta take care of self.
Yeah. I mean, one of my best friends passed away in her sleep a couple years ago. She was like vegan, healthy, doctor, all these things. Like life is short. And I think without, the desire to be productive fueling it, it's just a reminder to take care of ourselves.
And she had to dig deep to figure out what was causing her to just go like that. Yeah, but it's unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah. When I'm thinking about this idea of dreaming bigger, it reminds me of I had this season where Arlen Hamilton was one of my mentors. And I went to this retreat. Arlen Hamilton is like a VC person who, she at one point was homeless and now she's a VC investor. Mark Cuban backs her. She's just super dope, Black woman. And I went to this retreat with her and a handful of other women. And there's a point in this retreat where people are just kind of sharing their ideas and their business goals. And it was this moment for me where I was like, I'm not dreaming big enough. These women were like, they're
Not
dreaming,
intimidating.
they're dreaming big. They are being so creative. They're coming from this place of, I'm gonna be number one in the world. I'm gonna help X amount of people. And they're just these bold and clear and inspiring visions. And I was like, I'm not dreaming big enough. And ever since then, I have these moments, these kind of check-ins with myself of, am I dreaming big enough, or is fear getting in the way of something? Is a gap or a distance from my deeper why getting in the way?
You think it is?
In those moments when I'm not dreaming big enough, I think sometimes it is.
Welcome.
And again, I don't think it's like dreaming big enough isn't always this never-ending expanding thing. But I do have these moments where I recognize it's either fear or it's lack of focus, lack of discipline that can get in the way. So, but it's a gut check moment of like, what is potentially getting in the way of me not dreaming big enough? For some of y'all who are listening, it's certain people in your life. You need to switch up your circles.
I was talking about that with someone just before I got on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, because some people will not be a good steward of your dreams.
Gotta have good people around you and the right people.
Yeah. And so I always go to that memory of just meeting certain people. I remember I met this woman. I won't say who she is, but she basically has her big thing is helping entrepreneurs become millionaires. I asked her, we were kind of talking about, I was like, how much do you make in a year? And she, again, like, she mainly has this like one offering. And this woman's making like $25 million. Wow. And I was just like, like, what? And then also, but then just like, hearing how she's been so creative within the midst of that and how she wants to expand that. And she had dreams of starting her own TV show and partnering with this celebrity. And I'm like, yeah, I need to dream bigger. And it's not about more money. That's not the dream. Yeah, that's not the dream bigger. I'm talking more about like, what does it look like to not play so small? To not play in a way where I'm like, this feels safe enough and doable enough, so I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, I never do things the safe way. Safe and me don't. I'm a big risk taker.
Can you share a story, maybe of an example of what that big risk has looked like for you, being a risk taker?
That's a good question. I feel like starting all things on Kara was because, like I said, at that time, I had no job. I wasn't really as business savvy as I was, but I took that leap of faith and said, well, let me just try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll just keep applying to jobs and do something else. But I mean, it works. Like I said earlier, like it's still mind-boggling because it doesn't feel real, but then it does because, like I said, I kind of know I was gonna do all these things. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think too about, I feel I'm in this season of dreaming bigger. I'm making some big changes in terms of like business and some other things right now. I'll make more public in due time. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is the importance of adopting the motto of the Navy SEALs, which is slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
I think I've heard that before.
Yeah. So I'm finding myself in this season of slow is smooth. So I'm recalibrating my self-care rituals and discipline. about and just taking time in terms of being strategic and understanding where is point B and where am I am right now in point A.
Right.
And obviously you can't build and dwell and make a home in slow is smooth, but you can't necessarily move at the level of speed unless you have that level of clarity and groundedness.
And help too sometimes.
Yeah, because also too you might burn out.
Yeah.
So I've been in this season of slow is smooth is fast, and I'm excited for the smoothest fast that will be popping off probably in early summer. But yeah, I think that's also an important part of dreaming bigger is knowing when you need to recalibrate and be honest with yourself about some changes that need to be made.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I'll also say this, there's some questions too. If I want to get practical for some people, there's some questions that I'll also reflect on and ask myself. There's typically three that I ask. One is, does this dream align with who I aspire to be? Is it out of character, right, with who I am and what I'm about? Second question is, how does this vision serve not just me, but my community and people I care about? Because if it's just serving me, that's a small world. And it has to be something a little deeper.
Cause an impact. I remember I heard it from some, they're like, if they're not doing something to the point where people are able to feed their families, you're not doing business properly. When you not have to think of that aspect in business, you're like, okay, this person ain't gonna make this if I don't do this, and they can feed their child. Like, that's how deep you have to think. Sometimes I forgot who said that. I was like, wow, that's true.
Interesting. Yeah, and the third question is, am I dreaming from a place of abundance, love, and curiosity? Or is it coming from a place of fear, scarcity, and ego? Sometimes people are pursuing things because they're running away from something else.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
Yeah, and that's not sustainable, right?
Yeah, it's not.
So I think there's these tensions that ultimately just call us to be more honest with ourselves so that we can choose courage over comfort in those moments.
This was a good combo. I've learned a lot today.
I've learned a lot too. I didn't realize some of the background for some of the things that you were and that you've been cooking up.
Yeah, we always doing something. I need a serious vacation. No, for real.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. I feel like too, even us like scheduling this, I know both of our calendars are just wow. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen. I'll close this out on this last question then, because I think it's important to talk about the present, what's possible, but also to really think about the future.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if a young creative called you their blueprint, what would you hope they're learning from watching you?
That's even inspiring. Me being a blueprint. Child, that gave me chills. I would just, that's a good question. I would just hope that they're learning just to be creative. I think that's the essence of all the things I'm doing. People always come in and say, girl, I love what you're doing. But it's not as hard as it seems if you're just being creative and just putting out there what you already know. And just maybe nurturing. I talked earlier about how my mom nurtured my creativity growing up, but as you being the business, you can nurture your creativity and also make sure you're taking care of yourself. It has to be balanced. You can't just put all this into business and then you're literally half asleep, which has happened to me many times. But I think that's important, is to not forget about yourself, but also just to hone in on your creativity. You have an idea, just do it. You might not have all the money, but you have to start somewhere, and then you can always improve on it after.
Yeah, exactly.
And being so creative to the point where sometimes you're being innovative, because that's something I really love. That's actually even one of the reasons why I changed my name, because I actually used to go by Nikki Billie Jean, but Michael Jackson's fan made me change my name. That's a whole... So with trademarking, I read that they're like, even the figures. Yeah, well, I'll actually explain that. So, and this is actually an important thing with business. Make sure you trademark your stuff and you do it properly. So I was working with a company to trademark the name. And they said, oh, there might be an issue, but I didn't take it seriously. I wasn't aware of trademarking at that time. But when they now saw that I was trademarking, they sent me a cease and desist. And luckily I had a good lawyer. She was able to at least have me or let me keep whatever I had beforehand, not change everything. So when I was thinking of a new name, the minute I saw that cease and desist letter on my email, I'm like, I'll just go by Nikki the Jeanius, which is a play on words. I'm calling myself a genius, but it still pays homage to the new name of Billie Jean. So that's another thing I'll tell you guys, is make sure when you're thinking of all this creative stuff, think of making sure you got your LLC right, Make sure you trademark your stuff. Copywriting, I think it's like for music and other things, but just make sure you have your legality stuff together. I think that's also important so you don't get disappointed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll just try and do an episode with my attorney. Actually, her firm is called Creative Genius Law.
Yes.
Yeah, she's dope and specializes in IP and especially with working with creatives.
Yeah, that's something I try to get people to do. Have you LLC, have you trademark? Please do it. It's important. If you don't own the trademark, you really don't own anything. Getting the domain doesn't mean you own your business name. You getting the social media handle. Trademarking is the most important thing.
Yeah, it's a part of the difference between building a business and an asset.
Thank you.
And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people have businesses where if like humanity centered, my main business is a really good example of this. It's a business. Sure, there are some things that are valuable that we could quote unquote sell, but the reality is if I go away from that business, humanity centered is not the same, and so an asset is something that you could be able to sell. Like, can you look at your business and say, yes, I could sell that for X multiples, right? And part of adding value to that is trademarks, it's copyright, it's making sure your T's are, crossing, your I's are dotted.
Exactly.
So I think it's really important to do that from the jump. I actually have, not a lot of people know this, I have a CBD tea company. And it started as a passion project, and then I got tired of it. And
a few years ago, I remember like 2021.
Yeah. So I started this CBD tea company, and then I've learned so much from it. But honestly, I was more passionate about humanity-centered stuff and what to do with Moonpaws. So now I have this brand, I have this company that I'm in the process of selling, and that's an asset. I have trademarks with that. I've created branding around that. There's a relationship with a supplier. It's pretty much turnkey. I just need to sell it. But that's an asset. Yeah, that's something I can literally sell within the next month or two. So again, so you have to kind of think about those deeper things. But yeah, to this question of blueprint, I mean, really at the heart of this question, it's something we could all reflect on is, am I living my life in a way that can be a blueprint and an encouragement to someone, or is it a cautionary tale? So am I living my life in a way that's a blueprint to someone else, or is it a word of caution? And, I think for me, when I'm thinking about if there's a young creative that called me their blueprint, I hope that they would recognize that building something meaningful doesn't require having it all figured out. It's really just the willingness to start, to stay curious, and to stay rooted in your values and to not betray yourself in the midst of it. I hope that they would see rest is not a reward, but it's a requirement. That being committed to your healing is not separate from your hustle. I think entrepreneurship can be one of the greatest healing opportunities if you allow it to be. That it will expose and bring things to the surface that you thought you could just work your way through. And I know I'm someone I'm very multi-passionate. And I think when I was younger, I thought that was a bad thing. My mom would always make comments about how I'm very passionate about all these things, but I'm like a master of none. But the reality though is I actually reflect my background. I was actually pretty good at a lot of things. But I had that expectation that was being put on me of I have to be level genius, or it's not enough, or it's not okay to have so many different things on your plate. As I've gotten older and I just recognize her own projections onto me, I recognize that it's a gift to be multi-passionate.
Yeah. You just need help sometimes. I think that's what also helps with a lot of these things we want to aspire to be. You just need help. You just need a team, several teams at that.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And I think part of it too is just trusting your gut.
Yeah.
It's understanding and trusting that what will fall into place will fall into place. And I think I've had to learn that, and I hope when someone's seeing me, that they see that being multi-passionate isn't something that needs to be fixed. It's actually a gift that needs to be honored and stewarded well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you say that because I even remember when I first started off my brands and people would see I had all things and then I had my own personal brand. They're like, girl, you're doing too much. You need to put it all on one platform. I said, no, I'm not. And now you see all these, they have fancy skin, they have fancy beauty. But this is the thing people used to make fun of me for. I was just ahead of my time. That's how I look at a lot of things. I'm just ahead of my time.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't have to make sense. It has to make sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, I have humanity centered. I'm often working with organizations, executives on creating healthier workplace cultures, creating healthier products, all these things. And then I'm creating an astrology for pets business.
That's
I'm
so
really,
unique.
yeah. I mean, at the heart of it is like, I'm deeply passionate about helping people be and feel more free. If that needs to be through a workplace experience, great. If that's through the relationship, through their pet, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, for me, there's a through line. It's okay if people don't understand it. It's okay if it's not perfect, but at least it's honest.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's mine. And that's enough.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks for hanging out with us and diving into some of these real and unfiltered conversations. We know your time is valuable, and so we don't take it for granted. If today's episode made you think, if it challenged you, or gave you something new to consider, we'd love for you to hit that follow button on whatever streaming service you're using. That way, you'll never miss an episode when we drop them. And if you want to go even deeper, sign up for our newsletter at choosecourageinc.com, and you'll get updates on new episodes, access to exclusive freebies, and first dibs on coaching opportunities and other resources to help you make bold moves in your life and business. So we appreciate you, we see you, and we're rooting for you. Until next time, keep choosing courage over comfort, and a friendly reminder to drink some water.